10 shillings, and a monthly electricity bill would be £2 7 shillings. So a monthly electricity bill would be less than the cost of what it would cost to publish the book. So that kind of gives us a little bit of a sense of, ooh, more than a monthly electricity bill.
Half your gasoline budget for the month.
Yeah.
That's a bit much.
So here's from, again, we have a Facebook page. I rarely check it. I really don't like Facebook. I tend to post on Twitter, Google Plus, and our website, tolkienscholars.org. Really don't like Facebook. We had a couple of thousand followers at one point, and then because I wasn't following the terms of service and giving my real name, I don't give my real name on Facebook. They turned it to a page. Well, a page is basically the bit bucket. It's basically the trash. And so slowly built things up again, whatever, under an alias, under Fion Alkarian, which is my name translated to Elvish. So, so here's from Scooter Smith on February 2nd. Hello, fellow fans of The Good Professor. I'm working with local bookstore in Yakima, Washington to set up an event for Tolkien Reading Day. Now, I may have already missed this, so I apologize if that happened. But again, if you want to contact tolkienscholars@gmail.com is a much better way to reach out, or Twitter, or our website. Facebook, I'll get to it eventually, but I might miss something important like this. A few of us came up with the idea, Tolkien Moot. Then we did a quick web search and found your events, our Tolkien Moot. We were wondering if there would be issues with us using the name Tolkien Moot as an advertisement to our free event. No charge whatsoever. We will be reading, performing, offering elven bread, games, and coloring books for the children. If not, it is no problem. Just thought we should ask you beforehand.
March 25, actually.
And if not, then we will hit the drawing board again. Thank you for your time. And my response on the 20th was, it would definitely confuse people. Did you have this event? Yeah, I didn't realize the time on that. However, whatever name you decide on, we would be happy to help spread the word. We're an international community, so always trying to share everyone's efforts globally. If you have details or a page, please let us know so we can link it to you. And he responded that same day, February 20th. Thank you for getting back to me. We have not held the event yet. It is planned for March 25th. We are meeting this week to hash out a few ideas and scheduling. It would be great if you could do that. I will give you more information this week if that is all right. I have not heard from him, so I will ping him back for that info and add it to our new website. So servers were all offline for over a week last week. Long story. And it has international implications. Basically, we had a server in a cage alongside, had nothing to do with our server, but we're in the cage at Liberty Lake, an event called Spammergate. 1.3 billion email addresses were exposed. Over 330 million people's personal information has been exposed. The guy who did that research and security thing and found this out and published it and then reported it to TierPoint, who's the hosting company, didn't know that TierPoint would shut down the entire cage rather than go after the specific people and servers that did this. The cage has hundreds of servers in it. They shut down the entire cage. So lots of people had nothing to do with Spammergate, were completely taken offline with no explanation as to why, and weren't even allowed to get our servers for over a week. Finally, after a week, they made arrangements for us to pick up our servers. And so I got that server, and it's in my house now, and I'm trying to move everything around, all the technical stuff to make it so. And a few days ago, I got it so people could start connecting and get to the data, but it's going to take me more than 100 man hours to get everything working properly again. You know, I've already spent probably close to 100 man hours with everything going on. So my apologies, but Tolkien Scholars is back up. It's actually, I think the landing page is a lot nicer. I've like, well, it's an opportunity to rewrite. So the landing page for Tolkien Scholars is much prettier. That's the trend right now, is big pictures and not a whole lot of content.
It's easier for mobile, yeah.
My old site is completely mobile compatible and everything, but it is content dense. I've always been much more about the content than the froofy pictures. If you want to go to the pictures, go to the gallery section, has always been my attitude. But that's just my attitude. So anyway, the landing page now is very nice, but the links all go back to the server. So fortunately, all those essays and everything are still there, our media notes, you can get to them again, so that's back up. So I will go ahead and ping him, get his info, and put that on the front page to let people know about his event. And we're happy to do that for anybody.
Hey Chief, just one more thing. So Tolkien Reading Day, funnily enough, the theme this year is poetry and songs in Tolkien's fiction.
Hey.
So without knowing it, we were totally connecting to that.
Yes, did so intuitively. Here's another website to know about. I'm way behind the curve on this. November 30th, somebody posted Mythmoot 4 Call for Papers version 1, Invoking Wonder.
Oh, that's
It's going to be held June something. June 1 something.
No, that's the Tolkien professor, Corey Olson, and
Oh, is that who
Salem
it is?
University run that, and I've never been to it.
Oh, they moved the date.
I think they're doing it
Okay.
in the summer.
June 1st through Sunday, June 4th. So Thursday through Sunday.
This year?
In Leesburg, Virginia. Yes, this year. So luckily, it's still
What is
worth.
this again? Sorry.
Mythmoot 4, Invoking Wonder.
That sounds fun.
So they contacted me saying, I'm hoping to advertise our event with your group, so doing so. We're Invoking Wonder will be held here June 1st through 4th, 2017 at the National Conference Center in Virginia, USA. And there's a link, we will provide that in our notes and on the website at some point. This is a mixture of an academic conference and convention celebrating literature and art, especially speculation fiction, fantasy, sci-fi, horror, mythology, children's literature, and other genres. It is put on by Signum University and Mythgard Institute.
Yay.
These two organizations were founded to provide a way to support exploration and research into areas of imaginative literature. The unique online-only model of Signum University and Mythgard Institute aims to provide low-cost educational experiences so that students do not incur large student debts. You can find out more about us at signumuniversity.org. We have special academic guests Dr. Verlin Flieger
Yeah.
and Dr. Michael Drought,
Wow.
a special musical guest John D. Bartolo, and a special artistic guest Ted Nasmith, who's done illustrations for
Wow.
our magazine and such. We are actively soliciting both academic and creative submissions for Mythmoot. Please contact me if you have any questions about the event or our group. This is April Neal Kluver.
Oh, that would be so fun to
KLUVR.
submit to that, but like you have to like get there.
Yes, it's events at
Virginia.
mythgard.org. Well, they said it's an online thing, so maybe it's all being done through
Really?
web stuff. I don't know.
I'm sure they'll stream.
Well, they said conference center, so I don't know. See, and then I said thank you. It says we now have preliminary program available. Things are really shaping up for a great event, so the website's been updated with that info, and we will include those links. Again, best to email tolkienscholars@gmail.com so that you're not months in delay, because I forget. And remind me to check this from time to time when we do this. See, we had your message from Meetup 22 days ago.
Yeah.
Would you like me to read that out, or you pretty much covered
okay.
that since? Okay. Hello, I'm new to the area
Faces.
and just wanted to connect on a couple of things briefly now, but I hope to make it to one of your events soon. Yay, he did. A lot of people say that, and very few follow through. I wanted to share the resources of Corey Olson's Tolkien Professor podcasts and more recent videos by himself and other Tolkien scholars, which you can find on Signum University's YouTube channel. This recent one by Verlin Flieger is just brilliant, and we'll have to include that link. I'll have to send you that link to include there. I have also been volunteering at Spark for something fun to do. If anyone in your group is interested in writing, please let them know about Spark, and I've mentioned that to Richard a few times.
I don't remember what Spark is.
Well, that's for like Inkling. It's an activity center down in Kendall Field or Kendall Yards, and they have gatherings of the Inklings for writing workshops and things and
Where's
fun
Kendall
activities.
Yards?
This thing
Off of
development-
Monroe,
Just
right
off
off of
the road.
Monroe, right above the river. It's a whole new development there between Monroe and Maple, right
Oh.
above the river cliffs.
Oh,
All that new
okay.
development. Used to be all the construction stuff.
Yeah.
Oh. I haven't been in that area in
Okay.
years.
Yeah, the only problem I have
Put
had
in
with the
meters.
Spark Center, and they already know, so I dialogued with them, the wheelchair accessibility is less than optimal,
Huh.
especially for a new building. The bathroom, they have to get on a little ramp, and the door doesn't work.
Oh yeah,
And
there's
it's-
that step there.
Yeah, it's a little wonky, and they still haven't really fixed that. I was looking at running some of my groups there, but many are in wheelchairs. And
Man.
the bus, I don't know if it's changed, but the bus drops you off clear over on Monroe,
Yeah.
and you have to take all the way down the sidewalk. And in the winter, that's just
Bit of a
not,
hill.
it's not usable in the winter. Well, it's relatively level from close to there, but in the winter, that's not well paved, and so I ended up not using that facility. I ended up getting a mobile facility, but that's what that trailer is out there, is that's wheelchair accessible.
That's cool.
So yeah, I'm very familiar with them, and neat stuff, and I'm hoping to do some stuff with them in the future.
Cool.
So you've been volunteering at Spark, great place for writing. Let them know about Spark as a great place to go, and about Tuesday afternoons in particular as a good time to go if they're looking for someone to write and read with. And then you've included a link to spark-central.org/drop-in. Again, I'll send you links and such. So thank you very much for that. You prefer Wesley or Wes? Have you under both?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
No problem.
All
So
right.
we'll just call you doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter.
Wes, have you read, or Chris or Stephanie, anybody here read Verlin Flieger is the editor of he edited the most recent. It's a British publication of a republication of On Fairy Stories.
I've
No.
read the On Fairy Stories, but not a recent
Okay.
scholarly one.
It's a really neat. It's an annotated one actually.
Okay, that would be.
Yeah.
Streaming came online 10 minutes ago, mysteriously. I didn't do anything. I just left it. I left it that way an hour and a half ago, and 10 minutes ago it just mysteriously started working.
So it's a stream with an hour delay?
Google, get your act together! What the? Must have been the server or something.
Oh wow. Yeah, the Tolkien Reading Day with Tolkien Society in Britain.
Mm-hmm.
They've obtained the permission of the Tolkien Estate for live storytellings of Mr. Bliss.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And
We already kind of did that.
yeah. Let us know what you'll be reading in the comments below or on Twitter using the hashtag Tolkien Reading Day. So March 25, everybody. That's before our next meeting, so
Yeah.
everybody should try to read a little Tolkien on the 25th.
But of course. And he mentioned non-fairy stories as one of his long list of things.
Oh yeah.
So that's in J.R. Tolkien, The Monsters and the Critics,
Yeah.
and other essays. He proposed to speak about fairy stories, so this is quoting just the opening, not the whole
Yeah.
thing. I propose to speak about fairy stories, though I am aware that this is a rash adventure. Fairy is a perilous land, and in it are pitfalls for the unwary and dungeons for the overbold. And overbold I may be accounted, for though I have been a lover of fairy stories since I learned to read, and have at times thought about them, I have not studied them professionally. I have been hardly more than a wandering explorer or trespasser in the land, full of wonder but not of information. The realm of fairy story is wide and deep and high and filled with many things. All manner of beasts and birds are found there, shoreless seas and stars uncounted, beauty that is an enchantment and an ever-present peril, both joy and sorrow as sharp as swords. In that realm a man may, perhaps, count himself fortunate to have wandered, but its very richness and strangeness tie the tongue of a traveler who would report them. And while he is there, it is dangerous for him to ask too many questions, lest the gates should be shut and the keys be lost. There are, however, some questions that one who is to speak about fairy stories must expect to answer, or attempt to answer, whatever the folk of fairy may think of his impertinence. For instance, what are fairy stories? What is their origin? What is the use of them? I will try to give answers to these questions, or such hints of answers to them as I have gleaned, primarily from the stories themselves, the few of all their multitude that I know. And then he goes into it, so well worth reading.
Hawk, I suggest it might be, we only have a few minutes left, so I would say maybe we wait on Martinez till
Yeah.
next month.
Yeah, we can do that.
But we
We've
do
covered,
have,
because we've covered a nice variety of stuff.
sure,
Imagery and
but
all
we,
that.
what I was gonna say is we do have a few minutes, we could read that next letter if we want. I mean, Chris, if you would like to be involved in that.
I can if you want. I'm not that great at reading aloud, but
Totally
I'm
up
willing
to
to
you.
do it at your own peril.
You don't have
So-
to, we just wanna involve everybody as much as they're comfortable with.
I stumble over his letters because he's writing in English and I speak American. So
Okay.
All right, so 135, is that your suggestion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Is it okay?
Right there, of course.
All right.
It's more of a joke than anything else.
The more collaborative, the better.
All right.
Abbreviations, it's just the
Everyone ready?
prepositions are
All right.
We're bracing ourselves.
Okay.
Let loose the hounds of war.
From a letter to Rainier Unwin. 24th October 1952. Rainier Unwin visited Tolkien at Oxford on 19 September, and the manuscript of The Lord of the Rings was given to him by Tolkien shortly afterwards. Didn't you read something similar to this
Yes.
a few minutes ago? On 23rd October, Rainier Unwin reported that according to...
Printers.
yeah, this is about how much... Are we sure we haven't read this yet?
The one I read was 135.
Oh,
That's
was
what we're
that
reading
is,
in.
sorry,
Yeah.
wrong one.
Yes, I thought it sounded
Just
familiar.
flip the next page.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so 136 then.
Yes.
All right.
Or was that page? That was the one.
Okay.
Whoops.
All right.
Okay.
Now to the
There's
correct
a-
letter.
Oh.
Here we go. All right. Allen and Unwin decided to publish The Lord of the Rings in the 3 volumes, priced at 21 shillings each. Tolkien's contract stipulated that the manuscript of the book should be delivered or ready for the printer by 25 March 1953. The publishers had also asked him to write a description of the book for publicity purposes, and not more than 100 words. Wow.
Mm.
I don't predict that will be successful, but... All right.
The brief note comes
Yes.
to mind.
Dear Rainier, I have intended for some time to write to you, as the contract day, 25 March, steadily drew nearer, and found me still enmeshed in troubles that gathered upon me the moment I had signed. And here I am on the eve. In brief, what has happened to me is above all my wife's increasing ill health. Oh, I completely messed that sentence up. What has happened to me is above all my wife's increasing ill health.
And that's a lifelong struggle for her, unfortunately.
Yes.
She was bedridden much of her life.
Which has involved me in various distresses since November. On a doctor's ultimatum, I was obliged to spend most of what time I could spare from duties in finding and negotiating for the purchase of a house on high dry soil in the quiet. I am in fact now in articulo mortis, or it almost feels like that. In fact, in the very act of a household removal, nothing could be more disastrous. In addition to the ill will of Mordor, decreed that I myself should lose most of the vital Christmas vacation being ill. There was no chink in the armor of last term, and I am now still involved as chairman in controlling the setting of all the honors English papers for June, a week behind at that. I am afraid I must ask for your lenience in the matter of the date, but I see some hope in your letter, since it appears that the first 2 books would suffice in keeping the ball rolling. I practically completed a detailed revision of these before disasters overtook me, and I can let you have them by the end of this month. Would it be useful if I sent now at once the first book, the longest of all, which is quite ready and is matched by a spare corrected copy? If you care to wire or phone me, I could dispatch book 1 tomorrow. I am sorry to be a nuisance.
Very sorry.
Yes. All the time you spent by not typing airy.
I know.
But you may guess how painful it is to me that should be a labor of delight should have been transformed into a nightmare by the gathering upon 1953 of so many duties and troubles. Between 23 April and June 17, I hope to have enough leisure to put the bulk of the latter books, which need little revision, into order, so as not to hold things up once started. But I go into a tunnel of examinations from 17 June to 27 July, which will give me 12 hours work a day. After that I shall lift my battered head, I hope. I am resigning from exams anyway, but I could not get out of it this year. If you could give me any hints as to what your publicity department requires, it would help my battered wits. How can I describe the book clearly and just emphasize its special interest in 100 words? Perhaps I could get someone else who has read it, like CSO, to help. Yes, I hope so.
Yes.
Yes. And a P.S. P.S. I have given some thought to the matter of the subtitles for the volumes, which you thought were desirable. but I do not find it easy, as the books, though they must be grouped in pairs, are not really paired, and the middle pair, 3 and 4, are not really related. Would it not do if the book titles were used, e.g., The Lord of the Rings, Volume 1, The Ring Sets Out, and The Ring Goes South, Volume 2, The Treason of Isengard, and The Ring Goes East, and Volume 3, The War of the Ring, and The End of the Third Age? If not, I can at the moment think of nothing better than 1. The Shadow Grows, 2. The Ring in the Shadow, 3. The War of the Ring, or The Return of the King. JRRT. So,
And we have a viewer, Moni G, who commented earlier. He's watching from White Lake, Michigan, about an hour or so northwest of Detroit, who says hello. He's joining
Hello.
with some, so
Who is it again? What's his name?
MONI space G.
Okay.
So, other than his comments previously, I'm not familiar with him. So, I'm so glad he joined us. Thank you. Welcome.
did I hear you have an IRC channel somewhere?
Yes, irc.merp.com. That MERP stands for Middle Earth Role Playing.
Okay.
So if you have an IRC client, point it to irc.merp.com. MERP chat's the main room, but we also have Tolkien Installers, broadcasts, and other channels there too. So.
Because I thought I heard mentions of it in other
Yep.
places, but I didn't know the
Yep.
server.
Oh, and I'm also normally, I didn't load it this time just because I was juggling everything else. I'm normally in the OneRing.net's chat room as well,
Okay.
on Geek and Sundry, and on RPG.net, and a few others simultaneously.
I can't find the names of the separate sub books.
I don't remember them being in there.
I thought somewhere they were though, right? That books 1 through 6.
You want to look at the
have
Memorial
names.
Edition? Is it right
They
there?
have them named, right?
Probably.
Yeah, I'll have a look at it.
Okay. By the way, I was thinking, because of his abbreviations, he would have fit right in the modern age of texting.
Yes.
He might have established a few standards differently than we currently have. But in his writing and such, he clearly liked to shorten it as much as possible to get his point across without
That's a
having.
guy.
Yeah.
He is getting
Yes.
popular again. When abbreviations were very.
I don't
Yeah.
think it shows.
And V.
Does it have a title or is it just a number?
I don't know.
Thank you very much.
Probably want to bookmark that somehow.
The end of
No,
the
it's
third
fine, 'cause we know the
age.
page, we know the
Okay.
letter number, and
So-
Ryan
Yeah,
takes
oh,
great
they're all,
notes.
they're all,
They're all named?
subtitles, yeah.
Could you compare that with what we just?
Sure.
What do we have? So
1. The ring sets out.
okay, hold on. He says.
You can hold up to the
The ring-
camera.
yeah,
behind
the ring
you
sets
just
out.
to illustrate. You only need to do the one, but
2. The ring goes south.
Yep.
3. The treason of Isengard.
Yep.
if you could put them back in the same order.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where it is. Like 1.
4. The ring goes south.
I'll never figure it out.
The ring
Wait,
goes.
is Tolkien an anagram for anything else? Like, can we
No.
mix it up and?
No, it's,
confuse
I don't
The ring
know.
goes south.
That's a
Wait,
good
should
question.
Ring
I
goes
don't
south
know.
or ring goes
East.
east?
East.
Yep. That's still connected to his letters. It's all the
Yep.
same. What are the last
5.
two?
The War of the Ring.
When they're returning.
Yep.
When the return of the
6.
king.
The end of the Third Age.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then the appendices.
Yeah. So actually, all of those are as he said in this letter.
Yeah,
Cool.
well, I hope so. This was a memorial edition,
Ah.
so.
Well, right, but still.
Yeah, you never know if that gets changed or
I mean,
something.
this is it. This is
No,
1953.
That's true. Well, but he's about to release.
Right, but I mean,
Yeah.
in that even the names, the titles of the 3 books weren't completely.
Okay.
Does anybody else feel that, in a time, if you're saying that he's turning in the edition for The Lord of the Rings, when did it actually get published by them?
Richard, would you hold that up to the camera so we can see that?
Sorry, say
Hold
that
it
again,
and slowly
Corey.
rotate. Yeah.
Well,
So
when did he actually publish The Lord of the Rings? When did it
Well, it'd be 1954. I think
July
was the,
29th, 1954.
was the first one, which here he says, as Chris read, was the shadow grows, which obviously is not what it became known as the Fellowship of the Ring.
Well, we've been talking about how there was,
Thanks,
they
Richard.
were still rationing, and
Did I do it in a
and the
sexy manner?
book was expensive.
Let's see on the link.
The paper.
The book was expensive, and they were still rationing at the time, right? And so this shows you that how this has survived, because I mean, imagine a book that cost you, like you were saying, what, half your gas?
I don't think that's what
And-
it ended up costing. Though.
Well,
I think in the last
That was their
letter-
estimate.
Yeah, the £3 something whatever.
That would have been for the entire book.
Uh,
one book.
Yeah, it
I
printed
think
it in one
the
book.
published
yeah.
price was like 20 shillings.
Something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Well-
they were able to do it much less.
I'm just amazed that
Breaking it up.
it survived that period of time and has become as big as it has. I mean, think about how expensive that would be. I mean, even if it was on the cheaper side of things, would you be like, oh, I'm willing to spend money to
And-
buy myself a piece of literary that doesn't feed my family? I mean,
Well,
And if he had given up after all these years, like most writers do, most writers never finish, right? He just because he rewrote,
neither
and
did
rewrote,
Tolkien.
and well, but I mean, he actually did get some finished works published. So,
Right.
yeah, he had more to do, but he did actually finish a few, and then he forever nickeled on everything else. But there were so many opportunities for it never to have seen the light of day, or only posthumously.
That's what I'm
never
saying.
fully
It's
organized. Yes, there were a lot of things
its
going
survival
against it.
is amazing, to be
Yeah,
honest,
by,
because
by a thread.
it seemed like everything was against it almost.
And
in
if
some
he had not
ways.
been so tenacious, despite his overload, in continuing to plug away at it, to check in from time to time, update with the publisher.
That's why we need
Yeah.
publishers and
We would only have
authors.
the Hobbit, so.
They work out something in between that is best, because the publisher is thinking, what's going to be, in terms of the market,
Quickest
in terms
buck.
of what people can actually read, pick up
Right.
and actually read.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a relationship.
It is,
Symbiotic,
and yet
yeah.
Tolkien, of course, as well as the creative genius behind it. But I love how it says in this, on the text for the second edition, The Lord of the Rings is often erroneously called a trilogy, when it is in fact a single novel consisting of 6 books plus appendices, published for convenience in 3 volumes.
No, you
That's
forgot,
so Tolkien.
Ryan, you forgot something there.
What?
Sumerian, the foreword.
The Silmarillion?
Sumerian, it's a foreward.
Yeah.
it's a popular trivia
The
question.
longest
That
forward
wasn't
I've ever
published.
seen.
That wasn't published while he lived. So. All right. Well, I'm going to call the meeting to be adjourned. It's 3:05 p.m. now. Thank you so much for those of you who've joined us both online and here in person. I'm so glad you made it. I hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you plan to come next month and onward. Again, if you can't make it online, if you can't make it in person, we try to get online, but as you can see, that's not reliable. So the best thing is if you can make it in person, please do. You're most welcome. Do try to arrive, try to go live at 1 o'clock.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. We all, I was late. And I'm here. I was late.
So good to be late, okay.
Don't, if you're going to show up early, that's fine, but I just need to know because the door could be locked if it's too early. I try to unlock it by about 1:45, but like today.
It does the trap
I was
door
behind.
also that leads to the dungeon.
Yeah, it's not working perfectly right now. I gotta work on
I
that.
thought that was the stairs.
But again, thank you so much. So our website is tolkienscholars.org. We're on Twitter at Tolkien Scholars. We're on Facebook under Fionn Alcarian or under Tolkien Society, but I really don't check it very often. So it's best to email tolkienscholars@gmail.com or contact us on our website. We have a chat room under irc.merp.com under Merp Chat and Tolkien Scholars. Google Plus, of course, through the same email. So, we're prolific. If you haven't had a chance to check out our magazine, it's Other Minds Magazine. You can go to omzine.org, or you can type out othermindsmagazine.com if you want the long one. And many thanks to Thomas Lewinsky for keeping that going. I think we have our 16th or 17th issue coming out. And like some issues, thank goodness, are PDFs. There are 300 pages in one of the issues. Most of the issues are not that large. But every now and then, he's just like, no, this has all got to go in. It's like, all right, Thomas, you're doing the editing, go ahead. Originally, I was trying to print, I printed the first editions at one of the MerpCons. So there were only like 10 or 20 copies made, and they got autographed and all that. And I was going to create hard copies of all of them, but when we started putting out 100, 300 page ones, I'm like, that's going to be like $50. I think we'll opt out.
And even without paper rationing.
Exactly. The paper has gotten really expensive. So, but they're all freely available as PDF under Creative Commons license. So you're welcome to share and distribute as long as you just give attribution and such. And of course, check out our previous episodes on youtube.com/Tolkien Scholars. So again, thank you so much for joining us. This was a great showing here. We had some great interaction, and most welcome to come next month. I hope you do. And wherever you may be well. Namarie.
My bad.
Okay, so